What's up, everybody, and welcome to the community broadcast here for Challengers. It is Stage 4, Day 4. My name is Proper. Joined with me is Cruisin', and we are starting off with some pretty big stipulations, actually. And here in Day 4 for Elite, if you're unfamiliar, everybody gets that one match. And for Europe here, Jesse, where we're starting things off, this stipulation in between Elevate and Mavericks is going to be a big one for us.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like you were kind of just framing up Mavericks, they absolutely need to win from this point on. But not only do they need to win and they need to hope for other implications to happen in terms of Amelia Stray and Hot Tub both losing out on their matches here today for them to even have a chance to be able to make it in due to all the tiebreakers. Because, man, we are in a crazy standings here today.
Yeah, we absolutely are. If you're not following along, you can get everything on COD Gamepedia, of course. But I mean, Mavericks are currently sitting at 6th place. They are more or less tied with the Originals going up to 5th. But Amelia Strays and Hot Tub Meta, they are currently facing relegation, tied for about 7th and 8th. But everybody is tied at 2 and 4. The reason why we are setting this up is because of Amelia Strays and Hot Tub Meta. If they are able to win this match and move to 3 and 4, and Mavericks are also right there with them, well, then it starts to come down to a head-to-head ratio of which Mavericks actually lost both those matchups versus Amelia Strays and Hot Tub Meta. This would be a big win for them, but they're going up against Elevate, a team that has already qualified themselves not only for Stage 5, but also the playoff bracket. Bids, Denza, Hixie, and Weeman, they've been having themselves a great stage, 5-1, 16-7 overall of a map record. They don't really have a bad game mode, not unless you can really bat an eyelash at that 3-3 control.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the only thing I would even stick out by. Like 9-2 on hardpoint by far has been their best mode all year long. I think the interesting thing about the hardpoints that are coming up in this series, though, is that Mavericks actually are playing 2 maps that they are also undefeated on hardpoint. So, I mean, could end up giving themselves a good chance here. But I mean, this Elevate team, it's just no team to ever really be sleeping on either. It's that team from the last stage. I think it's one of the only EU teams that actually stayed together as that full force coming into this stage for themselves. And I mean, it really shows with how good they've been doing throughout this entire stage. Still one of the top teams. They're going to be coming out one more time here. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised they finished back-to-back second places in the last 2 stages. And I mean, they've probably got their best chance at winning a stage in this one as well.
Sukri, Eric Boom, and Super now playing with Vickle. If you are just tuning in for the first time throughout this stage and you are a fan of Mavericks, Yako had been moved over towards Team War. And again, this would be a big matchup for them. Let's take a yeah, they just completely swooped on. I mean, Vidian to the coach role, picking up a big submachine gun. Yako had a great stage 3 with this Mavericks roster, but you know, they've had their fair share of woes, but also had their big high notes as well. And much like you talked about that map set and how it might end up favoring, let's go ahead and take a look at that best of 5 map set now and how we're going to be framing up this entire series. Starting off with that Apocalypse, Hardpoint, Express Search and Destroy, and then the Garrison Control. Your guaranteed best are your first 3 maps, but if we have to go to map 4 and 5, it'll be a Checkmate, Hardpoint, and a Standoff, Search and Destroy. Jesse, how are you feeling about this best of 5 series?
So, like I said, I really like the map picks in terms of hardpoints that were picked for the side of Mavericks, just simply because Mavericks, they're only 4 and 5 in hardpoint, but they get 2 hardpoints to come through that they are undefeated on. Yes, it's only 1-0 on both map mode combos, but it's still better than going to another one of their maps where they have a lot more losses on, which I mean, sometimes can be a good thing, sometimes can be a bad thing though as well. Because if you go to a map where you have a lot of losses, yes, you have a lot of losses there, but that also means there's a lot of VOD that you can review, you can get a lot better at. This time through though, they're going to go to a map that I guess they just feel quite comfortable on in terms of Apocalypse Hardpoint. And I mean, why not? We saw them yesterday play. They're very good with their submachine guns, but the problem is now is you have to go up against the submachine guns on the side of Elevate, who are also extremely talented on a map like this.
Yeah, Apocalypse almost screams for a lot of submachine gun pressure. They beat Orglis here 250-93, but let's see how it may all frame up. You got Mavericks. They are going to be represented in the blue. Elevate represented in the red. You're mostly looking at for Mavericks to hold on for that favorite side over by the Palace. For P2, you can get a lot of points over there, but Elevate through the opening breakoff are doing a good job at least touching through the middle of the map. And Eric Boom, unfortunate to say, will take down Super. That's a team nade. That could be the space available for Elevate to work all the way through.
Absolutely. And like you were pointing out, Mavericks, they're really just going to be looking and focusing on trying to hold down these side spawns. But unfortunately for them, it's only going to be Super who's left alive here, just trying to battle it on, and he's going to end up falling. So spawns will get flipped out. This is basically a perfect start here for Elevators. They've gotten majority of the time here on P1. They flipped these spawns out for P2. And I mean, look how far away Mavericks are spawning. They're going to have to run the entire distance of the map just to try to get into this next hill.
Big flip. And again, an uphill battle. Mavericks not only not finding a single second, not even a drop of time on P1. Might just be able to find that second. Nope. That's when you thought.
There it is.
Maybe just 2 seconds. Nice. Getting ourselves on the board. But, I mean, most importantly, it's that opening that Elevate were able to find, working their way closer towards P2. And now they have the setup that everybody fears when it comes down to Apocalypse. Hardpoint nades galore through the center of the map. This cutout It's about to be where Super's trying to flood their way through, but Mavericks do a good job. They get control of Rugs, gonna push through Pool. Eric Boom leading the charge. Super, the submachine guns from Mavericks, able to find the pressure and the kills needed. And just one more player lingering inside of this little cutout through that head glitch on that window, but Vickle with the Diamante is going to be able to do it. A nice timely break out of Mavericks there.
Yeah, that's a perfect break and one that they absolutely needed at that point in time in the game, because you definitely don't want to start down 100-0 to this Elevate team. And this was something I was kind of going to frame up before we got into this, as Elevate gets right back into the hill now. But this is one of those maps that absolutely you can find an upset on, just in terms of if you rotate over the other team and just find all the kills on rotations, you can absolutely lock down 30 to 50 seconds on a hill basically any time on this map. It really does feel like sometimes. So Mavericks, they do end up losing out on that time. They will have their early rotations heading in towards P3. Hopefully for themselves, they can try to lock down a little bit more time here, because still only around 20 seconds to their name going into this one.
Mavericks with the initial time. It's a good time to have, but you're going to be able to hear Hixie just bulldozing up top. We'll drop down. That's going to actually be a pinch play. Elevate, very successful in getting Mavericks off from this time. Only 20 seconds has gone by. Now in total control of trenches and over by barrels. Elevate are in there for the time. They're going to be able to read that. Mavericks, of course, are going to be holding on towards those P5 spawns. So the setup is starting to look pretty good. You actually have a couple players for Elevate reading maybe that they might have spawned out closer towards P2. You might suggest that might be an opening for Mavericks, but no, Elevate's front line is just holding so strong. They're about to be eclipsing past 100 points before Mavericks can even see maybe 40.
Really, really weird so far in this game. It feels like breaks have come easy and often so far here, which is just something that I'm just not used to seeing on Apocalypse. I don't think very many people are, but it's been the case here. And Elevate, they will be holding on to those left-hand side of the mini-map spawns for the time being, as we look to head over towards our last two maps, or our last two hills, I should say, of the rotation. I mean, absolutely in the right position to try to get a ton of time here, but Super coming in from behind. He will be able to find one onto Turtle, so he's just trying to play his life in the back here, and actually that kill is going to be so huge they might be able to just flip these spawns back out for themselves.
Just about quite literally turtling up here in P4, just trying to get that chicken coop control. Keeping your head on the swivel, trying to read where these spawns are coming from. Weeman is actually going to have Super spawning right on top of him. I don't even think that he's going to see this coming. Super actually doesn't fully clear out. Weeman gets the opening shot, but Super is going to be able to turn around and at least deal with that pressure from behind. But this was all just a distraction. Elevate through that P2 cave side is actually able to work their way inside the hill. And it's just an absolute nuisance with this leader's advantage, just really keeping Mavericks at bay, always just trying to nip at their heels. And while Elevate are absolutely flourishing in just that, they can just always free flow through the rest of the map, look for control through the middle of the map, and they're already threading the rotation while soaking up scrap time to boot.
I won't lie, that spawn out that I just saw coming from Super in the middle of the map, very, very strange. But now with Elevate, how far they've pushed forward, they're going to continue to spawn all the Maverick players out towards that right-hand side of the map. And it's just the worst spot absolutely to be spawning in, because Elevate, they got all the time there on that P4. They flipped the spawns out perfectly. Now they're set up for P5 as well. This game could absolutely get out of control really quickly here.
It's really starting to spiral. I mean, when you start turning scrap into initial and you're already like threading rotations, you're finding breaks as easily as Elevate too. I mean, just look at the set. I mean, it just one by one they chow, one by one they will all fall. Eric Boom and Super are at least able to find a consolation trade, but Bids will get the last laugh while the rest of their teammates are spawning damn near close enough to be able to be right there for the next gunfight, and they will. Hixie, 14-6 for them, 13-8 for Weeman. I mean, you could just tell that Elevate is just having a field day with all these gunfights. And well, Mavericks, although Super's up at 12-10 and Eric Boom just shortly behind them at about 10-15, they're not just only struggling to find the kills. You can see what that is meaning for Elevate with all the time that they've been able to find on that first set of rotations.
I mean, I also think like Sucre, I just feel like he's not getting into enough engagements, especially on a map like this. You're only 8-10 right now on a map like Apocalypse, where engagements come fast and often, and it's just been very, very strange to see that he's not gotten into too many of those engagements for himself here. And I just feel like I've seen a ton of comebacks on this map by more than 150 plus points, but I just feel like I haven't seen enough out of Mavericks to fully be able to believe in it yet, because they've been set up early on some of these hills and they just haven't been able to lock down any time. And you can already see Elevate, they're putting a ton of pressure on these back spawns again. They want to hold on to the spawns for P2 exactly like they did through the first set of rotations, and they're going to try to do it one more time here. And if Weeman wins this gunfight in the back, it's all but going to guarantee them the spawns once again here. Yes, Mavericks, you're at least getting time on P1, but I feel like the bigger fight is P2 here.
And this is where it starts going from bad to worse, right? Because you want to be able to focus on P2. You want that money hill, but Mavericks, they need this time first and foremost off of P1. I mean, they're able to find it, but they are starting to recognize that Elevate were rotating out through P4, and they get control of the entirety of the Palace. But again, Mavericks, they're playing with such an uphill battle in front of them. They got to get the time first, or at least recognizing this. It is 188-82, 106 points for the lead. Elevate the initial time here on P2. Well, Mavericks starting to poke at the back end of this hill. They're going to lose a couple of gunfights. Vickle trying to at least turn this into something, actually get Sukri to spawn on top of them. And Vickle goes so massive, they find 5 straight. 18 and 15 for them on a big break of P2. Elevate at 195, but Mavericks, they're making their statement here.
Oh, finally, we get to see a little bit of life out of Mavericks in terms of getting a break in, and Elevate, they're going to try to do it right back to them, kind of like what they did through the first set of rotations, because Mavericks, let's not forget, they did break this hill early on in the first set, but it's Elevate who just breaks right back in, and they do it once again. Spawns will flip back into the favor of Elevate. Now they're set up to try to get these back 20 seconds, and now here comes in the issue like you were talking about earlier with the winner's advantages. Maverick really can't afford to give up these last 20 seconds, because you're going to put Elevate 30 from being able to take this game, but you still need to try to rotate over and get set up for this Barrels Hill. They're just not in a great situation here, and it actually looks like Elevate, off the gunfights that they're winning through the middle of the map, not only are they going to win the scrap time, but they're also going to win initial over towards the next hill.
Hixie is just winning so many gunfights. Denza is right there to join him, 16 and 14 on 3 straight. So is Hixie as well, battling for the initial time. Wee Man able to at least find the trade onto Vickle. It's initial time here for Elevate, always threatening the rotation from that leader's advantage that we keep hinting on. But Super, from the pinch, is going to be able to help out their teammates from the front. That's a break. 40 seconds or so remaining inside of P3. But again, Elevate, you essentially just need one good break, if not just holding the rotation over towards New. This game is all but over. Mavericks are in the hill for the time being, but just look at how coy Elevate is just waiting for them to exit.
Yeah, Elevate is just they're basically just playing exit kills right now. That's all they realistically have to do, is just wait for all these players who are inside the hill to drop and go inside. But now actually they kind of get an opening here where if you do win this last one-on-one at the hill, they can hop back in and get these last 15 seconds. So Elevate realistically are about to put themselves 5 seconds away from being able to close this game out.
Just always being a nuisance. This big lead that Elevate has been able to find through that first set of hills is just swaying over Maverick's head. I mean, Vickle and all of their heroics through the second set so far need some more to come all the way through. Sukri, last alive over by the hill, won't be able to hold on to their life for too long. Eric Boom got no choice, has to touch. Just 6 seconds needed for Elevate to close out the game. Finds one, but Wee Man in the center of the hill is going to be able to find the trade. Sukri can't even get there to stop the clock. Elevate with a dominant Apocalypse hardpoint to start of the series, 250 to 127.
I think that's got to come down to me for just the fact of how easy those breaks were coming for Elevate on every single one of the hills. Like we were kind of framing up going into this one, is that this is one of those maps where it's so tough to be able to get breaks, and just the fact that Elevate over and over again were just one-shot breaking onto this Mavericks team. We saw them break twice onto P2, which is arguably one of the hardest hills ever to break in Call of Duty. It's very similar to Hackney Yard P2 as of last year, and it's just one of those maps that you don't, or one of those hills that you don't expect to see a lot of teams being able to break on so easily. And just the fact that Elevate, they just walk in, they find their kills over and over again, constantly flipping the spawns out, getting those trades, and the way that they were able to string all old time into initial time at the new hills, it was just beautiful to watch, honestly.
It really was. Yeah. I mean, and it comes down to just that, right? It's the gunfights that were just convincingly being won by none other than Elevate. I mean, Hixie, as well as Denza and Wee Man. I mean, everybody was seemingly going on 3 sprees, 5 sprees, just continuous kill streaks. We didn't see any score streaks, keep in mind you, but that's the pressure of the submachine guns that we were talking about. And that is why Jesse really hinted at, a player like Sukri to try to find more engagements. You can try to lock down rotations as much as possible. But if you're not winning the gunfights and your submachine guns aren't there to be that front line that you need, well, Apocalypse can absolutely stir out of control, as what you just saw. So now that is all done and dusted, Elevate are able to take map number 1. We had already hinted at how we have seen a lot from Elevate, who moved towards 10-2 now for their overall hardpoint through stage 4. It is probably their best game mode so far. They're also moving towards a pretty darn good one. Mavericks are looking towards this Express Search and Destroy, and, well, they definitely could use it.
Absolutely. And I mean, Mavericks, like we were kind of talking about when we went into this as well, is I do like this whole map set for Mavericks, and looking at the Express Search and Destroy, I know we only kind of framed on the hard points earlier on, but looking at the Express Search and Destroy, they're 3-2 on this map mode combo. They've played it a lot, which, like we were talking about before as well, was it's beautiful when you have a ton of experience on one map, especially in a stage, because you can go back, you can look at all your past VOD and realize the little mistakes that you make here and there. Like maybe you just got flanked at a wrong time on this map. Maybe you've just lost a few maps by a few rounds here and there, like that you could just absolutely have won, that could have swung those maps back in your favor. 3-2 on a map, definitely not a bad record to have. So you don't hate this map pick coming in from the side of Mavericks. And then if you look over at Elevate, they are 2-1 going into this Express Search and Destroy. So definitely a map they are very comfortable on as well. It just seems seems like this whole map set is just one of those map sets where both teams feel comfortable playing on these, but it just might end up coming down to the fact that Elevate is just one of those higher skill teams at this point of the game.
Yeah. I mean, there comes a certain instance of time where certain mechanical skill and overall comfortability, as far as what we are dealing with here in Cold War, definitely could come into consideration because Mavericks again. I bring up Vickle, and although they were able to showcase their abilities and talents as a main SMG, they are not bringing the same pressure that this Mavericks roster once had a stage prior to this one with Yako now, and that also adds into a lot of different instances where you're now trying to create new blind trust, so to where Eric Boom always had that on the front line, to where Yako was just slaying out, just going God mode continuously, and Elevator just absolutely flourishing in that. Their front line just are always fighting trades, and their back liner is being aggressive, much like how you were talking about. Sukri really struggled in that opening for Apocalypse to even find some engagements, nevertheless, as kills. But going to this Express Search and Destroy, you got to be decisive here. You got to be able to showcase what you have as far as strategies, because Mavericks really got to be able to take this map away from them. And the one thing that does scream out to me more than anything when it comes down to Mavericks for that 3-2 record that you were talking about, they got blown out of the water by Hot Tub here, 6-0. That was not a pretty showcasing from Mavericks. I mean, Hot Tub, they look great here. You compare that actually to Elevate, they were able to take 3 rounds. That is the only loss in that 2-1 record that Elevate have on Express Search and Destroy. Take that as you will. Regardless, they are typically winning this map by a round and a half. So, I mean, it definitely showcases, even from the stage prior to this, that Elevate, they have a deep understanding for what Express has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Just they got their chance. They need to make a run with it here if you're Mavericks. Like you said, though, that 6-0 loss, that's a tough one to swallow. There's some machine guns are going to need to be a little bit better here. They need to open it up. And it's absolutely what they're going to need to do here in this round to really be able to find a lot of things. You can already see Bomb moving over towards A, and they should relatively be able to get a free plant in here. Sukri will find that first blood. You love to see that coming in from the submachine guns, and Vickle actually gets away with his life as well. So Sukri, he finds the timing. This is a huge round here off of them to start this game.
Oh, it's massive. I mean, that first blood comes through. That's supposed to be the submachine gun that has to get to that planter box to threaten the bomb plant, if not inside the train, to wait for the exits. You got Sukri is pushed all the way up here. And it's just all comes through from a beautiful setup. And it comes through that decisive nature that I was talking about for Mavericks. You got to be able to showcase that. They wanted that A bomb site, and well, they took it. Able to exploit early rounds where you don't have that trophy system. A couple of set nades here and there sets up ARs like Sukri for 3 kills.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what you want to do. Like you said, they need to be able to take these bomb sites and take them quite aggressively right now. If you want to get in the face of Elevate right now, especially make them comfortable early on in this game. But Elevate so far in this round, it looks like we're going to get a 3 hit in going towards A again. And Mavericks, they're more so set up for a B hit right now. So relatively bomb site fairly open for Hixie to be able to push up, try to get this bomb down. It's only Vickle who's here with a submachine gun of all things too. So not the best weaponry to be able to defend this.
He's going to see Wee Man at least throw a shoulder out there.
He didn't spot Denza.
Yeah, he's going to hear footsteps too. So got to play your life here. And well, Denza, top down, Semtech's going to come through. Not exactly where you want it to be. That was just so awkward. But I mean, at least Eric Boom's able to take down. Semtech's kills come through galore. Takes both Vickle and Eric Boom out of commission. 2v3 for the retake here. Sukri and Super have stacked up on top of each other. It's going to hit this train together. It'd be a beautiful lineup for Wee Man up top in the office, but they can't find the opening shots. Can I at least connect with the flak jacket from that Semtex? And well, Mavericks, they're starting to run out of time. 14 seconds left on the clock. Really got to start finding these kills. Bids will go down by way of Sukri, but there's just not enough time. You're not going to be able to find these 2 kills. They're both locked up inside of office. One on the backside. Super is at least going to pop up. They will find the consolation kill, but the bomb will be detonated nevertheless, and Elevate will tie things up 1 apiece.
I think the only positive you can really take from that round for Mavericks is the fact that you still have Sukri on 4 in a row. At the very least, he's still able to play his streaks at the end of that round, still alive. But honestly, not a big fan of that retake overall. Yeah, once you realize nobody's going over towards that B bomb site, you have to realize, hey, we need to make a retake for A here. Maybe send a few players towards the flank, and you can just pinch all the players on Elevate inside the site. Instead, they decide to all 3 hit, go back over towards A, and it just doesn't work out for them in their favor. Definitely not a big fan of the way they chose to retake the bomb there.
Mavericks getting aggressive through main hall, and it's actually going to be met in kind by Elevate. I don't know what kind of gentleman's handshake this is, but it actually opens up for the flank. Hixie actually hitting through the bridge. Doesn't hit all the way through. They're going to hear some shots because Bids does go down, and Hixie there for the trade. Hixie for the snapper for 2. For the third, no Super will be able to find the trade, but the numbers advantage just too much to bear. From a very aggressive round from both the teams, Elevate stands tall.
Yeah, both teams just decided, hey, let's just run straight down mid, like you called the gentleman's agreement. They decided. I thought Hiskey was about to get 3 here. That would have been an absolutely insane round. Just honestly, they, like you said though, Elevate at the end of that round, they kind of just had more numbers than the other team, and it was just easy trades from that point on. So now Mavericks, after losing out on their offense here, they do need to answer back with a better defensive round than what we saw from them through the first round here. And we'll see once again, Elevate, they're going to choose to send all 3 players going over towards this A site off the bat. Bomb will be kind of sitting back though, so leads me to believe that this could be a B hit, kind of a staggered hit though, coming in from them.
Oh, just a patient play. Seen some CDL teams try to exploit this too, but I mean, SMGs are just gonna get antsy. Eric Boom's gonna press forward, find their second. Just gonna leave Denza back here and try to figure out what happened to my friends, because Vids has the A site, but Denza has to retrieve the bomb. Great Semtex, but can't lock down the shots. And then Bids tries to rotate to help out their comrade through mid, and Mavericks, they answer back in kind. We are tit for tat 2-2.
I do like that play from Elevate though. They try to do the kind of staggered A hit there, or sorry, the staggered B hit there. And what they're doing is they're really waiting for all the players of Mavericks to just try to push in through them, get way too aggressive, and go on that flank that I was asking them to do in that first round. But unfortunately for them, there was no flank set up because all the players of Elevate, they're just kind of sitting back, holding angles, waiting for them to push on in. And then if they don't find anybody, obviously that's when they do the staggered push, hit in towards the B site. Fortunately, it doesn't work out for them in their favor, but I do like the push. I like what they were trying to do there. Now you can see Mavericks though on this round here, finally going to see a little bit of something different as we get a 4 hit in towards this B site. But again, Elevate, they will get very aggressive towards the middle of the map, and they can honestly set up a really good pinch here for this retake.
Bids try to push their way inside a ticket. They're going to lose their life, unfortunate. But the rest of their teammates actually work their way through departure. The submachine guns they find too. Eric Boom can't deal with the slide challenge from Hixie, who's just on one through the past 2 maps. Is now at 7-3. Finds 2 in this round. The bomb has been planted, keep in mind you, and Sukri has to play the post plant. Got the Diamati out. Krieg 6. Oh, they're going to get flash checked too, and just can't get the gunfight versus Weeman, who will knock them down with a shot punch. Elevate with the brilliant retake. Take the lead once more.
Just feels like every round Elevate wins is just so clean, and then when they lose a round, it's just so messy for Mavericks to be able to take it. It feels like they're very in control of this game so far here for themselves. At least every round with, and they did exactly what they wanted to do there. They took a very early control middle of the map, realized the bomb was going down over towards B, hit the full wrap. They get 2 players to pinch from mid and 2 to pinch from arrivals, like you called out in the round, and it's just a beautiful pinch because honestly they just trap the Maverick players back that they have nowhere to go. Bomb goes down, or bomb gets diffused quite easily once they leave Sukri in that 1 versus 3. It's just one of those situations where it's so hard to win. Now we can see Elevate one more time here on offense, and it looks like again a B hit will be coming in, but a very similar defensive hit coming in from Mavericks is they're going to choose to send 3 players on the flank through arrivals.
I gotta be able to read this. Oh, Weeman's gonna see the shots, and Bids tried their best. They're gonna go 1 for 1 at least, but no. The push through already came through the middle of the map. Which is a beautiful heads-up play coming through from Mavericks, just to recognize the plot holes in the setup once the entire site was given up, essentially, just to swarm all through and find the kills.
Just feels like we're seeing the same rounds back and forth from each team here so far in this game proper. It's just once one team tries something, they're like, hey, you know what? I kind of like that idea. Let's do that one on our own defense here. They do it. They get the job done as well. Mavericks back on offense. See what they can do in this round. Last round through, they chose to go towards that B site. This time, Elevate. They get very aggressive on the defense towards B, leaving a very, very vulnerable A bomb site here. But Vickle not getting too aggressive for themselves. They will push out to see if they can spawn anything. They're not going to see anything in the back here, as it is only Bids who is here. And they're choosing to get very aggressive on this flank as well. They're trying to take over their side of the bomb site.
Oh, man, just Bids had no idea. I mean, they knew that they lost the train, but where were those players coming from? Well, again, they just wanted your spawn, and Mavericks are successful in that. Looking to string together a couple of rounds, barring any Weeman heroics. Just potentially waiting for the player to pop up here, but I mean, they know they're not safe all the way from their spawn, and just whittling through the doorway, able to find those shots needed. Mavericks with 2 rounds in a row, and the aggression's starting to look pretty good on them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been asking for, too, since the very start of this game, is we need them to get aggressive, push through, take control of these bomb sites, take what you want, and go and get it for yourself, because you absolutely need to. You guys are facing elimination pretty much in this game. Whether you guys win or lose this game, you guys could be eliminated, but you would much rather win and give yourselves at least a shot here against a team like Elevate, especially. It's a huge confidence booster. If not winning this game, you going into the next stage, just the fact that you can beat Elevate here, and a very, very heavy bomb site hit from both teams right off the bat. And it's just going to leave one by himself here. And yeah, Bids is going to end up falling Mavericks. That's what we like to see, man. They're taking that aggression to them. 5-3 now, Mavericks.
I mean, Eric Boom is just taking control of the game. Just getting in your face, slamming you to the ground. I mean, Bids almost makes something crazy happen. The last bullet needed Vickle was quite literally a sneeze away from death, but yeah, man, that's 3 rounds in a row for Mavericks where, again, they recognize that there are certain holes in what Elevate are trying to push through. They're able to exploit those flanks, find those first bloods, but most importantly, the aggression doesn't stop there. They just continue to push all the way through.
Yeah, they're just winning the head-on gunfights right now, which is so important for themselves here. And it looks like we're going to see a very similar hit to what we saw Elevate do earlier in the game, where everybody on Mavericks is going to play a lot slower, hope that Elevate tries to get more aggressive here on their defense, but Elevate, they don't look like they're biting for it right now.
I got rounds to play with here for Mavericks. Not like anybody's on streaks, but you could have one of those force errors come out, and this is who wouldn't want an easy first blood when you're up on map point to tie up the series 1 apiece. And how about that opening? Mavericks, they don't need any shots. We just heard or saw a tracer at the very least, but they move their way inside of lockers. Trophies are out. Semtexes are starting to clear out through that back planters box, and Sucre's actually able to work their way towards the bomb. Wee Man gets stunned inside of the train, so the bomb will be planted super for first blood. Now with 3v4 for the retake, Wee Man has encroached onto the bomb itself, and those are some great shots to come through Hixie. The final bullet needed to take down Eric Boom. We're down to 30 seconds. Just 2 players remaining for both these teams. Wee Man able to lock down the shots on the Vickle Super in 1v2. Elevate might just want to hop on this, but Super, they got to quickly check this. Trying to play the clock. You can just see Wee Man through the X-ray. They know that something's up. They heard the mantle. Hixie is going to flank it inside the train, and Elevate keep themselves alive in the express search.
I love that play, too, from Mavericks, in all honesty with you. They get the bomb down, and they actually send a player through the other team's sky bridge to try to get in behind, find the kills. And he gets one, and honestly, I'm surprised he doesn't make the push the rest of the way through, because he could have watched the bomb from that spot. It's actually going to be Super right here. You'll get to see it. I'm pretty sure he makes the push all the way through the back to find the second kill here. And yeah, so this is the kill I'm talking about. He's able to find the kill onto Bids in the back here. But here's the thing, though, is he rotates back through the middle of the map. Maybe if he brushes the rest of the way through the bridge there, he can watch the bomb from that side, give himself a little bit of a better shot, kind of top bedroom-esque in raid, and just kind of sit in the top and just try to watch his life, play it from that spot. But unfortunately for him there, it just doesn't work out for his favor, makes the wrong read, goes back through the middle of the map. Not the best situation.
Here we go.
Elevate.
Oh, they're pushing for this. This has a little bit of shades when we had the overall brawl in the main hall of the map, but this is the harder part about that B site, though, Jesse, is that the stuns are going to come through. Trophies are in play. You're not exactly just going to bully your way through here, and they're not going to let Eric Boom get away with that for 2 rounds. And, well, just as soon as Hixie tries to find that first blood, it's actually Super that reveals themselves from the corridor hall. And they find 2 in the round, and Mavericks, they absolutely snap in that round. They're able to read exactly where Elevate's coming from. They shut it down. They win the search 6-4.
Yeah, that was really good search from Mavericks as well. Like we said earlier on, we wanted them to get aggressive, and every round that they really did get aggressive in this game to come through, take these sights away from the side of Elevate, and those were the rounds where they were a lot more successful. When it got down to the later rounds where you had to check your angles, check all these small little areas, that's when we really saw Elevate coming out on top. But honestly, once Mavericks got aggressive and they chose to take over their bomb sites, it was kind of done and dusted from that point on. Great rounds in from the side of Mavericks there.
Yeah, I mean, we started going back round for round, defense for defense, and we started getting offense for offense, reads for reads, a random scrappy brawl of both teams going for the Hail Mary read through main hall, but then something just ended up clicking for the side of Mavericks, where they were able to recognize, hey, they not only have these plot holes in their setups and their entrances, but we're also able to find a lot of timely flanks, and that comes through from Eric Boom. I mean, through so many times, I think they were somewhere near like 11-5 there at the end with the 2-kill round that they had at the end there. Maybe that might have been Super. Regardless of the matter, the SMGs were able to find all of the pressure and everything else, some more, that they were missing from the Apocalypse hardpoint, and they were able to exploit that through 3 rounds straight, putting themselves on map point just only in 1 round to really give up. So that's going to go ahead and tie things up 1 apiece here. I don't know if we have the opportunity to take a look at our best of 5 map set and where we are headed, how we got here, and what's potentially on the line for us. And there it is. You see the 250 to 127, a blowout essentially through the first set of hills for Elevate versus Mavericks on that Apocalypse hardpoint. A very scrappy opening on that express search to destroy for Mavericks to really find the headway and opening for 3 rounds straight will lead into this Garrison control, Jesse. And again, the stipulations on the day is that Mavericks absolutely need this win. They don't want to be able to go to that 3-way tie in between Amelia Strays and Hot Tub Meta if it really comes down to it to face relegation. And I don't know how you're feeling about this if the swing map mode combo truly plays into any sort of expectations of what we saw from the Apocalypse hardpoint, but I think the Elevate might just be a little upset that they lost that search.
I think they're definitely going to be upset that they lost that search, especially looking into the back half of this map of this series. This is absolutely the entire map set kind of helps out Mavericks in some sort of way, sort of form. Yes, Elevate, both the hard points are very good hard points for themselves, but like we were kind of pointing out earlier in the broadcast, going into this Garrison control, I think that this might have been a map pick coming in from Elevates as well as one of those maps where they just kind of want to practice it before we get in towards the next stage or towards the final of this stage, because they are 0-2 on this map mode combo. So this could be a very good chance for them to get some practice on it, a match that really doesn't mean much to them, but means a lot to the side of the Mavericks, who are 1-1 going into this Garrison control. So definitely a chance for them to be able to take this map for the side of Mavericks. Good chance for Elevate to get some practice as well. But I mean, just looking towards the back half of this, if this does end up going all the way to a standoff search and destroy, neither team has reps on it. So
yeah,
that one could honestly go either way as well.
And I think it literally comes down to that, exactly what you said. It's for the practice of all the maps, too. I mean, Elevate, they've already qualified for the playoff bracket. Standoff is a brand spanking new map here in this stage. Who's to say that scrims aren't definitely in consideration and how you can flaunt those bucks to be able to see what you can do when you are facing those top cut teams when we are in that playoff bracket. But some practice here versus a White Hot Mavericks, I mean, that's generally a good place to start. And when you start looking at that control and hell, even the guaranteed hardpoint that we're about to have on Checkmate for map 4, you got to think that this is where Team Elevate are really starting to test the waters. I mean, who's to also say that that's not a talking point, that maybe a few of those rounds that we saw on Express, if we go back and really put them 1-1 and dissect their rounds that we saw on streams previous to this one, that they weren't trying a few different anti strategies and trying to get a little bit bigger for their britches that didn't necessarily work against other teams in scrims, or at least versus the Hot Tub meta, of which they lost 3-6 earlier on in the round robin. So many different conversation points definitely come around, but all players are generally inside this lobby waiting to get inside this Garrison control. I believe over on the other stream, I think they're actually going through the Amelia Strays match as well. So make sure that you are going over to the COD Challengers YouTube. You can find that underneath Jesse's portrait as well, so that way you can have both those matchups. We're trying to give you score updates as good as possible throughout the entirety of the day. I believe that Orgless versus Hot Tub meta still has to happen. Don't believe that match has actually started, but again, the biggest narrative of the day here between us, Jesse, is that Mavericks, they desperately want this win. There's currently still that 3-way tie in between, or the 4-way tie, excuse me, as far as series count is concerned, between the Originals, Mavericks, Amelia Strays, and Hot Tub meta, where everybody's tied up 2-4 apiece, where things are really starting to come down to the nitty and gritty here on the final day of round robin, where we're going to start looking at those matchups. We're going to start looking at those mapped series scores as well. And barring that Elevate might be trying a few strategies, trying a few maps, if Mavericks are able to walk away with this win, they're going to be feeling a little bit more comfortable on the day to see that knockout bracket.
Absolutely. And I think that's the other crazy thing too that we're like really looking at too, is like, yes, that you were pointing out the other stream is Amelia, and that match is just as important as this one is, in terms of if they just win that match, they basically guaranteed themselves a spot in towards the next round, just in terms of Mavericks losing out on both the head-to-head to them and to Hot Tub meta. So those two matches that are going on in that mainstream, like you were saying, very, very important matches, as well as this one for just the side of Mavericks alone, because not only do Mavericks need to win this, they just got to hope that those two damn teams lose for themselves.
Well, if you don't have the other stream open, I will tell you that Los Pepes were able to take the opening hardpoint. No, I don't know the score. All I can tell you is that they were able to take that opening hardpoint. They are currently going through what looks to be a Moscow search and destroy. And we are still waiting for the other two matches to start. So we're waiting for this lobby to start again. All players are locked and loaded in there. If you're wondering, why are these two beautiful and handsome men just on my screen for such a long time and they're vamping about Call of Duty? Well, that's exactly why, is we're just waiting for the map to start. So deal with it. But going into this Garrison control, I think that this also for Mavericks, 1-1 on this. They do have a 3-0 win. What is that, against Los Pepe? So that's also a pretty big win. But the devastating loss that they also faced against Team War here yesterday, where they were able to exploit a lot of openings to where we saw Mavericks just getting wildly aggressive, even losing that opening zone. They have to make sure that's squeaky clean, because if there's a team that's also able to exploit that and they're in stage 4 Europe here for Elite, it's probably going to be Elevate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those. It's one of these maps where Mavericks. This is one where you absolutely can take off Elevate. You need to make sure you can do it here. Going into this game, we will see Elevate first on D or on offense as well. So I mean, this opening break off to set the pace for this game here on a respawn is absolutely everything for the side of Mavericks. A good nade kill off the bat as well for Super, but I mean, it's a very slow hit from Elevate going up towards the middle of the map so far. And Mavericks, they've done a great job of finding these opening kills and getting a lot of map positioning off the start here.
Always comes down when we're talking about control is that opening breakoff. I mean, what does that mean? Is the team to be able to win that opening breakoff typically is able to walk away with the middle of the map, especially for Garrison, that catwalk top green. It's just so vital for an offensive team to be able to take that control, but it doesn't exactly help when only one player is alive from the offensive team, so you can't really find anything of it. Only really 4 kills to talk about. Super at least trying to make that hit really stick through dark. Bids trying to cover through the middle of the map, trying to salvage this push, but they're the last player that's left alive here for Elevate. Would love for them to keep their life a little bit longer, but they're only dealing with one player here. Our Elevate off the respawn, and while Eric Boom, luckily enough, is able to find that kill, and Elevator is just continuously throwing numbers towards B. We're down to 30 seconds, Jesse, and they're still trying to fight for middle of the map.
Yeah, they haven't even gotten out of their spawn fully yet. Finally, you will get one player pushing forward, but bids will fall once again here. And Mavericks, what they're doing so good right now is they're just consistently taking control of that middle of the map, not allowing Elevate to get comfortable here in this round. And Eric, he's going to hop on just to try to contest this for a small period of time, wait for the reinforcements to come on in. But here's the thing now, Elevate, they do get some control middle of the map. I was thinking they might be able to grab onto this and hold some time, but Eric Boom will come through with a huge 2-piece for himself as well. So able to shut that down. They will hop on A just to try to stop the time here and give his team a chance to get back over towards B.
Denza trying to make at least the heroic play. Luckily
Look at
for
Super.
them, they're able to stop the clock. But yeah, you take a look at where Super's at too. Oh, cheeky bugger. It's going to at least blow up this play from behind. It's actually going to open up Sukri to find that kill. And although you might be able to stop the clock marginally here if you're Elevate, it's just a nice patented play coming out from Mavericks, not only from that opening break from there on out, just finding one kill, even going 1-for-1 is just stellar for a defensive team here on Garrison. The way that you spawn, you're able to get to the setups. Mavericks take the opening round.
I think we're starting to see why Elevate wants to play this map and get a little bit of practice on it, because that first round on offense did not look great for themselves there. They just weren't ever fully able to get middle map control. And I mean, we all know that's so important on this map. Whether you're trying to go for, honestly, either bomb site, you really want to be able to get that forward map positioning on defense so you can continue to push forward, get into those nooks and crannies where it gets really annoying for Mavericks on the defense to try to push out of their spawn. They were just never able to get into those spots. At Mavericks, they were able to just take full advantage of it there.
So how do we look on offense here, Mavericks? The opening breakoff was pretty good, but you got to win it convincingly. Bids with the crossfire. Oh, that's a cheeky angle. The Super just laser beams to it. Hixie lines up 2 through lights. Thank you very much. That should essentially just stuff the push. I mean, Super is now inside the vents trying to make that rat play, but most importantly, just trying to keep their life. They're able to find one. And Sukri with this Diamati kill over in top green just shows presence over towards A. Remember that update that came through? You can contest the A zone on that top platform now. So it's currently a double hit that's currently coming through from Mavericks. And the way that Elevator dealing with this, they want that A zone first and foremost. It is the easier of the 2 zones to hold, and it's only Super that's over by the B zone currently.
And I mean, I love that play too for Mavericks, is because you throw a player over towards A and it completely makes all the Elevate arrows turn around, because you know they would much rather lose that B side than the A side, because it's a lot easier to hold on to towards the later halves of these games. And Denzel will end up falling inside of lights. It's really just Hiskey who's left here close for the side of Elevate. He will end up falling, but they're able to get at least the players who were on the hill off of it. Now they will finally hop back on. So that second tick should probably come on in for the side of the Mavericks. And yes, it does. But back on A as well for Mavericks, and they will get a tick over there as well. So I don't know, man. Elevate, they're kind of looking rough here on defense. Mavericks doing a much better job of getting that forward map position in.
Well, if Elevate's not going to find the trade, Sukri says, I'll do it for you. Hixie saying, I can do it too. Finds another 2-piece, 11-7 for them. Everybody else on Elevate is sharing the legwork, only up at 5 kills themselves. Again, it was a very tough opening break for them on their offense, but the defense is not looking clean, as Jesse had just stated. Mavericks are just finding these isolated kills. They're working for the trades, and most importantly, they're just hitting it together. But Eric Boom, again, fortunate for Mavericks, is going to find another team kill. It's going to leave just a few players by their lonesome. So easy gunfights for Denza to clean on up with a 2-piece for them. That's going to shrug Mavericks off of that A zone, but not before they found that second tick.
And that couldn't have worked out any bit better for Elevate either, because now Elevate, they can push through, they can get everybody fully set up over towards A, which is something we haven't seen them actually get done yet. And it actually looks like they're going to send most of their players, keep them in spawn here, which is actually going to leave a pinch here on the hill. So it's going to be the defense needing to get back there very quickly, and they do indeed. So Super, he's going to kind of just be caught out. He needs to back up, wait for his teammates to come back off spawn here for the side of Mavericks so they can try to make another team push at this.
Getting some opening tags on the player inside of Lights is going to call for Vickle to push all the way through. So now the spawn is a little bit open for Elevate. Where is player number 1 going to spawn? Bids actually spawns to the bottom left. That's exactly what you want, but Hixie is right there to help things out over by the ramp. Could open up for that push to come through from top green. Wee Man's going to be that player that's going to be watching that top platform, gets the slide chow from Super. They're able to win it, and Bids is just in a little cheeky battle versus Vickle, is able to walk away with that gunfight. Their main objective is clear. They got to find as many spawn kills as possible, because that is opening up the opportunity for Mavericks to work their way through top green, cobble. They're able to get all of Elevate off the A zone, and now they're working up towards that third take. Vickle is still alive back here, gets the 4th kill in the streak, and it is all dusted. A beautiful offense for Maverick, just poking and prodding at that A zone constantly. They're up 2-0 in the control.
And I mean, I think you got to put that one on Vickle towards the second half of that round there. He's completely gets control of the spawn of Elevate, and nobody on Elevate can get out of their spawn at all, because Vickle is just raining terror with a submachine gun, constantly finding a kill, repositioning, finding another kill, repositioning. It's exactly what you want to see from your submachine gun player. Still only 8-12 in this game, but that forward spree absolutely locked down that round for themselves there. And now Elevate, we're going to need to see a much better offense from what we've seen from them the first time through. Otherwise, this is going to be Lights in this match.
I was talking about the submachine guns of Mavericks. I was mostly hinting at Eric Boom. I mean, they're 15-7 through 2 rounds, but I mean, with a nice little force spree like that for Vickle at the end, now they're up at 8-13. They will be first blooded in this opening of the round. Elevate getting a little bit more aggressive, seeing what they can learn from their previous break off on offense. Seems to be doing better. Denza, got to be careful with how far you push through Lights. It's a very tough gunfight to try to win. Sukri is going to make them essentially one shot. They're going to trade positions with Hixie, who's just in charge with locking down the Lights. But, you know, this 2-player stack is actually paying dividends for Elevate. They're 2 ticks all the way up to B. Mavericks are actually just going to completely concede this, and wisely so. 2 minutes and 13 seconds on the board. Mavericks just want to hold on to the 26 lives they still have in their bank.
I've seen way too many O2 comebacks in the last couple days in challengers while watching Control, man. It is making my heart stop right now, especially with BBG yesterday and today. They were absolutely insane on raid Control, constantly coming back, and Elevate, that's a much better looking round like you were calling earlier on, but they will finally get staggered here as Mavericks. They take a little bit more map control. You can see Eric Boom doing his job, pushing forward as that submachine gun player. And the thing with Mavericks there is you can already see they've got Super inside the hill. They're going to send another one in Vickle to get towards that hill. So it's going to make the push a lot harder from Elevate. Denzo does sneak through for the small bit of time, but now it basically forces everybody on Elevate to either have to filter in through green into gunfights or filter in through the back end through gunfights. Yes, if they lose those gunfights, Mavericks, it puts them in a really rough spot, but so far so good in winning them. High risk, high reward, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, when you're looking at that high risk, high reward type situation, it is a very low risk, but a high reward for Mavericks when they essentially just gave up that B zone. We have shaved an entire minute off the board here, Jesse. And well, Mavericks, now they have the life lead. They were losing it just about 3 previous to this entire escapade for Elevate, who tried to string together B zone to A. I'm going to try to push through the spawn. Wee Man 1v1 versus Super will lose it. Even got the opening bolt and everything. That's unfortunate. Mavericks still appearing the kill feed, go 2 for 2. Denza, the furthest player, push forward here for Elevate. Can't necessarily try to play for spawn kills. Is looking for at least cobble, but Eric Boom was already holding the angle. We're just down to 40 seconds. Elevate with 14 lives. They have no choice. They got to win this offensive round.
And honestly, with only 40 seconds left, Elevate, they realistically have one more shot at trying to hit this from the back before they just have to start to filter everybody in through the front. And it's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to hit the back, but Super will find 2 in the back as well. Really, really rough spot for them to be in for themselves here. But Sukri actually makes a huge play here for Mavericks. He's just going to push up and get into a corner here. So he should be able to shut down these reinforcements, but they sniff him out. They shut him down, and Matt and Elevate, they will be able to hop onto the site.
Here we go. Stack's looking pretty darn good. 3 players now on that platform, looking to at least flood out and getting a player behind the tack stat. We're able to do that, but 2-for-1 trades, not exactly what you want. 25 seconds remaining, but we're already 2 ticks deep. So now you got to slide Chow on. You got to try to stop this clock. The next player up is going to be Vickle. They also have player number 6. It's going to be Sukri right behind him. Vickle with the jump Chow is going to be able to get the headshot on the Hixie. 20 seconds now remaining. 8 lives for both these teams. Super locking down the rotation towards the spawn. Wee Man next player up. He's trying to at least find this long-range engagement versus Eric Boom, but Super hits it from the back, and the main door is able to find the trade. 8 seconds now. 6 lives remaining for these two teams. Can Elevate get up there? Can they touch? They got players inside of Cobble. Denz is trying to touch the platform. Hixie in the 1v1. Can't win it versus Fickle. Bids with the turnaround. The Snapper has to try to work their way up there towards the zone. Can't get there in time. So Mavericks are able to close it out there on that defense. They win 3 rounds straight on the Garrison control, and they will take the lead in the series 2-1.
All right, so maybe Elevate, maybe we stay away from Garrison control as we push further on in this, because that was definitely not a very good Garrison control for themselves there. That last offense at least looks a lot better than that first offense. So they learned from their mistakes. They got a little bit more aggressive off the start of the round, but towards the second half of that, it was just unfortunate gunfight loss. The Super was getting into some really, really annoying situational spots for the side of Mavericks as well to really slow down the push from Elevate. And honestly, I thought they had that round towards the end of it once they got the 3 stack on the hill, but Mavericks, they were able to just claw their way back in, get back on the site, and just hold it down and take away that game.
I mean, Eric Boom, again, through those 2 opening rounds, was somewhere absurd, like 15-7, close to double positive. Fickle had that force spree towards the spine. It just seems that every single time that Mavericks were effectively, rolling the 20-sided die to be able to test their odds of luck of what they were going to be able to try to find the push, it didn't really seem like luck at all. They were just able to, again, do the same decisiveness of what we saw from some of those search and destroy rounds on Express, where they were getting wildly aggressive for those first bloods, were also plainly exemplified there on that Garrison control. They recognized the opening. We got 3 players up towards Brick, towards Cobble, towards their main door in Square. Let's try to push forward, find a couple spawn kills, and now we're also finding that 1v1 over in top green. It worked. All right, that's great. Everything just worked out for them. But the biggest stark difference that I have from Elevate from that Apocalypse hardpoint over towards that Garrison control, as far as isolated gunfights are concerned, the only one that was really winning them was Hixie. I mean, Weeman was getting smoked in the long-range engagements, even through some of those cheekier setups off the opening rips, where you say ER is absolutely flourishing. They were so losing the gunfights, even getting the opening bullets. Some of those things have to change. If we could take a look at our best of 5 map set here between these two teams, where we were, how we got here, this, that, and the other, and where we're headed. Checkmate hardpoint is going to be the next map first and foremost, but I mean, Mavericks are making quick work of Elevate in that previous respawn 3-0. I was hinting at that Apocalypse hardpoint where, again, Elevate were just undeniable through that first set of hills. Timely breaks on P2 continuously. Won that one 250-127, but really started to struggle, and this is where Mavericks really started to find their strides. Almost coined to their name, just absolutely stampeding over the competition in a few of those rounds, and especially on that Garrison control. But Jesse, Checkmate hardpoint is upon us, and you would think that it's a must-win for Elevate, but again, who's to say that they're not just trying out everything, regardless of how much comfort that they have on these map mode combos, maybe trying out different strats, different setups, but at the end of the day, this is still a big time for Mavericks to be able to win this map. Elevate have already qualified for that playoff bracket, so, they're not necessarily sweating bullets at this point in time. They're just here to get their map pool a little bit strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a very comfortable pick, I think, as well for Elevate. They are 3-0 on this map. So one of the maps that they are more comfortable on, I mean, like, what are their wins on this map mode combo just in general, just to take a little look? Yeah, they're only averaging right around allowing 100 and right around 200 points being allowed for themselves in average. So very, very good map for themselves here. And it's one of those maps where it will be closer to get towards the end, especially on a Checkmate, because it's one of those maps where you can allow a ton of points on one hill, but then you can set up and get a ton of points on the other. And I mean, the way the breaks were coming in that first map, I don't know if Mavericks, if the guns just weren't hot on that first Apocalypse hardpoint, but if Elevate's able to find the same success that they were able to find in map 1 in terms of just being able to consistently break onto those money hills, get on in, find a ton of time, I think this will be a tough map for Mavericks, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. You just look at the comparison of what you already said. I mean, on average, for Elevate, they're winning this map by about 50 points. Mavericks, they're 2-1 on Checkmate hardpoint, with their average win, where actually their both wins are 250-232. That's actually pretty funny. So their average is a pretty easy one. Of which they won is about 28, but they do have a 250-226 loss against none other than Amelia Strays. Again, the team that they are mostly looking at, even if they do win this matchup, if Amelia Strays or Hot Tub Meta are able to win out their matchups, which it doesn't look like it's going too well on the mainstream, which again, show them some love. You can find that link is actually right underneath Jesse's face there on my right, so that you can go see what Amelia Strays are looking like as they're still going through that Moscow search and destroy. They're in a burner of a match as well, but there's a lot on the line here. But Mavericks, first and foremost, whether they make the knockout bracket, whether they get relegated, got to be feeling pretty good about these wins that you're finding on Respawn, because these strides, ever since Fickle has come into the mix, in the early goings of things for Mavericks, they looked uncoordinated to say the least. But as far as what we've been seeing through that search and destroy and control, things are really on the up and up for them.
Yeah, they definitely looked a little bit rough on the respawn, which is why I'm a little bit worried going into this one. But like you said, that search and destroy and that control, those two slower game modes, where you can find a lot of success just from pushing and getting aggressive on a bomb site or on a site just to push all the way through, find those opening kills, and they've been doing a great job of that. So if they can find some way to turn that success on those slower game modes into success in a respawn or in a hard point, I think that would be the absolute best way for them to be able to try to find it. You can also see as this series has gone along, Vickle and Eric Boom, like you called out earlier, they kind of have heated up, especially. So I mean, they just need to keep it up for themselves, so they want to keep this going on for Mavericks.
Yeah. I mean, Checkmate, for all intents and purposes, is not exactly easy to find a lot of value with a submachine gun. I mean, you can look at that opening break off the 4P1, and when you do go in towards that next rotation, and maybe a couple other, nuances of holding P4, this, that, and the other. But it's a lot of AR territory, right, Jesse? And this is where, again, when you are looking at between these two players, of which I was highlighting, especially coming through for Elevate in that 3-0 loss on that Checkmate, that their ARs were handed to pretty badly. Hixie's not going to be able to find the same value as they did, say, on that Apocalypse hardpoint, and for what they were at least trying to do for their team on that Garrison control.
Yeah, absolutely. You're you're not at all wrong when you're saying that the ARs are going to really be where the battle is here. But I mean, when you look at the ARs on the side of Elevate too, it's like, those are no easy ARs to go up against. Bids is honestly such a fantastic player. Denza also with the AR, just very hard players to be able to run into, especially when set up on head glitches towards the back of a map. And I like just really looking at this. I think it's just gonna be the battle for the plane, like it almost always is. But it's gonna be one of those maps where it's just really tough to see who's gonna come out on top. We are just still waiting for all these players to load back up on into this lobby here, so just gonna be waiting on that. And I've totally kind of missed what you were saying earlier when you were talking about the. So what word I'm looking for? Who was winning that match that you were talking about earlier?
Well, they're actually all tied up. If you go to the COD Challengers YouTube, Amelia Strays and Los Pepes, they're actually all knotted up. They're in around 11 currently. This is, again, Amelia Straits to tie up the series count 1-1. This is a must-win for Amelia Straits, who are currently facing relegation unless they can win versus Los Pepes. Again, there's a lot of other things that go into that entire conversation, depending on how everybody else looks on the rest of the day. I think the biggest conversation comes around hot tub meta, Mavericks, what they look like if they're able to win this series, as well as the originals. They're also facing Team War today as well. So it's essentially what we were joking around in the digital green room, if you will, before we actually went live, is that when you're looking at the 8 teams on COD Gamepedia, essentially the bottom 4 teams are facing the top 4 teams today. But if the bottom 4 teams are somehow able to win their matchups, and depending how the other ones end up winning or losing theirs, that's how relegation in the knockout bracket is essentially going to look. But the entirety of the playoff bracket has been flushed out. First and second place have been secured. Elevate 5-1 going into this matchup. Regardless if they lose this and go to 5-2, they're still going to qualify. Orglis are also 5-1 as well. They are facing hot tub meta later on today, and even if they do lose it, they're still going to be able to be 5-2, and they're still going to win it, because second place is Los Pepes at 3-3, tied with Team War right now. So, really the biggest battle today for at least Los Pepes and Team War. You're fighting for at least the better seed, if you will, going into that knockout bracket. Maybe looking for a better opponent, perhaps a little bit more comfort for your run to qualify for that playoff bracket. But the main focus on the day, at least for us commentators, I'm sure a lot of fans at home as well, is what hot tub meta, Amelia Strays, Mavericks, and the originals are going to be able to do in their very tough final matchups here in round robin to see if they can qualify. We finally got Sukri into the game in the lobby, by the way, so all 8 players are here. We are all ready to go. Checkmate hardpoint is on the horizon for us. Potential to close it out in 4 here, though, if you are Mavericks. Again, we were talking about at least some of their wins, 250 to 232 for both of them. That was not only against Orglis, but also Los Pepes. 2 very strong wins. But, I mean, Elevate with that Apocalypse hardpoint earlier, they are 10-2 overall for hardpoint through round robin at this current juncture of time. And if you're going to be able to walk away with anything from Mavericks, you were just hoping that they are just going to have the gunny more than warm. We're talking like white hot sun hot, because you just got to deal with Elevate on every single corner of this map.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 100% what they're going to need to be able to come out on this map. What's kind of funny too, just looking at the overall standings of everything, is just that this Los Pepes team, man, I'm actually been really impressed with them when I was casting them yesterday, especially. I think that they can honestly be a dark horse going into this one. I know Amelia Strays was kind of a dark horse, and they won the last stage as well. So, I mean, I kind of don't want people to sleep on this Los Pepes team. Just watching them yesterday, watching them today. Very good hardpoint team. Yes, their search and destroy is kind of weak, and that's where they're going to fall off on. But if they can take all the respawns against the team, I feel like that team absolutely might be able to make some upsets going into the playoffs here in this stage.
It's always an interesting conversation point. We talk a lot about who winning the hard points too, but search and destroy and control can really almost break a team at the same time. But if you can somehow guarantee those 2 hard points, well, you might just be dancing. We'll have to see if Elevate can do that here in this best of 5 series through the opening rip. Nothing par for the course here for Checkmate, just everybody just jostling for position. But that was a quick gunfight and a 4 down for Mavericks. How about that?
Yeah, definitely the start they want here. Much better than the kickoff they had in that last map, where they not only do they lose spawns, but they also lose all the initial time on that first hill. So Mavericks off to a much cleaner start here. They get hold of those good side spawns, but just like that, Elevate already going to be storming back in. They will contest early on inside this hill. But I mean, right now for Mavericks, really all you're trying to do is contest the majority of the time on this hill and try to hold on to spawns for the next.
Yeah, because what really just came down to hurt you, going back to that Apocalypse hardpoint, was not being able to lock down those money hills. I mean, somewhat being able to do it on the second set of hills, but they would love to put their best foot forward here on Checkmate. 18 seconds is what they're able to walk away with on P1, but it's that contested time that Jesse was talking about is most important. They will be there for the initial time of P2. They're starting to lose a handful of gunfights. Luckily enough, you have an anchor of Super. It's going to keep those spawns intact while Sukri is just trying to soak up the time. The rest of Elevator are all working through the A Street.
You can see Mavericks, they're still just trying to hold on to these back spawns. Weeman tries to make the push in from the front. He does get shut down very quickly. It's a really good setup, though, from Mavericks so far. They just need to make sure that they don't allow Elevate to put too much forward pressure on, because it will force a spawn out from the side of Mavericks, but they're winning all the gunfights in the back, so it does not even really matter. And now they can choose to actually get aggressive here as well, try to push on out the spawn. It's going to be really hard for Elevate to be able to grab any time on the remainder of this hill.
Yeah, I like this from Mavericks, right? The second you call out to be aggressive, essentially when you look at the mini-map for Checkmate, you almost have to break it down for 25, 50 yard lines, right? And they just win that gunfight, but they don't want to give up the spawns. They don't want to push too far forward to where there's an opening to lose even that scrap time. They just want Elevate to feel the pressure coming out of P2. So they push up that 25-yard line, and then they don't feel the pressure, find a kill or two, and now we're trying to look for the middle of the map. Unfortunate to say, if you're a fan of Mavericks, they can't necessarily win the gunfights convincingly. It's Elevate that are looking for that plane control, at least underneath it. Got players still zoning away on that A Street. Eric Boom trying to at least find the opening from that top plane, but will lose their life from Wee Man over by the crate itself. And Elevator doing a great job. I mean, what is typically coined as a very scrappy hill, they have all the zoning in the world here for P3. Mavericks do answer back with 2 of their own. They might be able to work their way inside this hill with 30 seconds remaining.
Still, though, just even being able to find 30 seconds on this hill from Elevate, like you said, is just huge off the bat, just from the simple fact that this hill is one of those hills where it's normally so contest heavy. But just like that, though, Mavericks right back in this hill. They've honestly held it for the next 10 after Elevate held it for the first 30. So already going back in their way, they've basically brought the score line back to what it was at the end of that second set, or at the end of the second hill. And now if you're Mavericks, you're kind of set up here as well. Going in towards the next, you kind of need to win a couple gunfights in the middle of the map. You've already got Sukri set up over towards the next hill, and they should be here for initial.
Should be here, especially with Eric Boom, who's also hitting the flank from the South Street. Well, Sukri was almost left on their lonesome because he had Vickle just trying to go for that top wing control. Eric Boom will lose their life exiting from P3. So just when you thought that initial time might just turn into a pretty strong P4 setup for Mavericks, it is all just blown open by Elevate. We're just doing a good job sharing the legwork until you look at Denza, who is 1-11. Uncharacteristically, to say the least, only has 18 seconds of hill time. Want to see if they can truly step it up here. And, well, it's not exactly, condescending for at least a score line. It's only just a 30-second game, but Mavericks, though, at least
I was
from
about
the
to
pinch
say
2 players deep, they will be met with disastrous gunfights. And, well, Elevate, 15 seconds left. Again, 2-12 for Denze. You fool me twice. I don't even believe you.
Yeah, I mean, this could be virtually a tie game at the end of this hill, and you can't tell me that they're probably not feeling okay with it being a tie game with the fact that you've got Denza at 2-12. If you get even the slightest bit more value out of him, you're probably winning this game right now for themselves. So definitely not the worst case scenario for Elevate, but Mavericks, they will be the first team here set up for P5. And you can already see, Sukri's trying to make the push in from the bottom. He does, and Elevate now, they need to make an offensive hit through the back, and it's exactly what we'll see. 3 players do hit towards the back. They're able to flip those spawns out and give themselves the best chance of being able to fight this hill from the front.
Denza, gunfight. Not going to be able to shut it down. 3-13 for them. Yes, I am gung-ho on keeping track of that one, but Mavericks are able to work their way in. 30 seconds still remaining here in P5. A very hard hill to be able to keep in your control because you always have the opening for the flank. And it's going to be Vickle that is able to deal with it for the time being, but Bids actually got here into Wood, found 2 kills, but they will be dealt with. Mavericks still not fully comfortable in saying that their spawn had been secured. And well, you'd be right. I mean, they didn't spawn in server. They spawned on the complete opposite side of you because the rest of Mavericks had already cut past the middle of the map. They're trying to secure the rotation, and wisely so, because when we go inside the second set of hills, it's a 30-second lead that Mavericks hold over Elevate.
I didn't even see when Hixie got streaks, but Hixie is fully streaked out for himself as well. So that's definitely going to be helpful for the side of Elevate towards the second half of this game. Be very useful towards trying to at least break into that P2 hill, probably one of the easier hills to try to use those streaks on. I think that's maybe the only positive you can take from Mavericks here is that this is one of those map mode combos where streaks just like they're good, but they just aren't going to be one of the hardest things to deal with, especially that cruise missile will be a lot tougher to be able to use on a map like this as opposed to some of our other hardpoint maps here. But Mavericks, once again, doing a great job on P1, holding down a decent amount of time here, at least contesting the time for a little bit, and they still hold on to those right-hand side of the minimap spawns.
It's a rinse repeat from the first set, right? I mean, Mavericks are able to win the initial gunfight. They're sitting there getting the initial time. They're also holding the spawns. But when we're looking for the exit, this is where Mavericks were able to clean up. Then they didn't push through to Elevate stairs on the opposite side. They're able to find themselves a lot more kills. And well, that completely dissuades Elevate, given that they didn't even have the numbers from trying to already threaten the rotation. Super also in a wallbang engagement. Semtex will surely claim their life. No, it's actually Wee Man's Crick 6. So an opportunity might present itself, but look at cheeky Vickle already around the corner, but the cruise missile does end up getting called in. Vickle did find that kill, by the way, but what is this cruise missile really going to try to do? Okay, it takes down Eric Boom. That's going to be 3 kills. What a great bend, but you didn't have the pressure for the players standing in the right spots of the map to break up the spawns. Not until Wee Man on this 4 spree is able to put themselves in a position to try to deal with the spawns, but Super's holding on to their life so greatly. Bids for the challenge will finally put them to rest. Still 30 seconds left to fight for a P2, but Mavericks, who just spawned previously out, have already worked their way back in, have flipped the spawns yet again, and they're spawning Elevate out.
It's because Super sitting inside of that spot and keeping his life for so long basically forces Elevate to spawn out 3 times there as opposed to getting a single spawn in the back. Beautiful place from the side of Maverick. And from Super there just to hold on to that. And this whole hill basically gets turned into scrap time there. Mavericks, they will find a little bit of value out of it. Elevate will find a tad as well, but really neither team really able to get a good amount of time there.
That's only going to benefit. Again, we talk about the leader's advantage as far as hardpoint. I mean, look at Mavericks with about their 41-point lead currently. They are going to benefit from keeping a hill scrappy, but now we're moving towards P3. I mean, if we're going for a 4 corners challenge here for Mavericks, they were just damn near close to it, essentially, from that spawn. I'm just going to be looking for the pinch over inside of P3. Denza nowhere to really go. It's now up to 6-21. Again, a very uncharacteristic game for them, but still 30 seconds in between these two teams. And Hixie and Bids, I mean, they're on a tear. 21-17 for both of them. Hixie, I believe they still have the artillery strike, only called in the cruise missile. Interested to see when they end up using that, if they already ended up calling in the ping, but how much value you got to really find it with it, maybe over towards P4 if you don't win this rotation. And Eric Boom is suggesting that, no, you will not win this rotation. I'm up to 28-16. Hixie, though, with the pinch, is at least trying to fight for the scrap of scrap time. 5 seconds might just be secured, but the rotation over towards New, again, is all Mavericks.
Yeah, it was definitely my thought too. As soon as you said where they're going to find value out of it, it's got to be this hill right here. If they don't get the rotation on towards it, but Bids will be the first player inside the hill for Elevate. And you can see all Mavericks are trying to do right now is put a ton of pressure on this plane control, because this is where you need to be able to break into this hill a little bit easier. Unfortunately, all their players from the front will also fall. So very clean hold so far from Elevate here. And I mean, they got a chance to not only tie, but take the lead here.
That's right. And you can also find value with that artillery strike going in towards P5. You can actually land all of the artillery around the hill, around the stairs, and that's effectively going to keep Mavericks trapped out if the situation does present itself as it currently stands, with them spawning over towards P2. Elevate, threatening the rotation. Hixie's going to be that player, 24-18, leading the charge. Hey, how you doing? It's a couch. You're supposed to sit on and stand next to it. Quick little check of the ping. Artillery won't be called in, but it's going to allow Hixie to know exactly where Mavericks are coming from. Will now be finding themselves on a 5 spree, just close to lapping themselves as far as streaks, working towards that next cruise missile at the very least. But Elevator heating up. Denza now finds themselves kill 11. Everybody else is up past 21 kills or more, and we're over the 200-point margin. Elevate, much like how you said, not only had flipped the entirety of the map, but they flipped the lead. Mavericks had not found a single second in what seems like 2 hills.
Yeah, it's not a great spot for Mavericks, and you got to think it would have been great if Eric Boom or Super would have been able to find streaks in the middle of the map in that P1 hill once they were battling through the second set of rotations. At one point, both were on 5 and 6 kills, and neither player was able to find streaks out of those 2 kill streaks for themselves there. Fortunately, they will be able to find a few kills here, try to break on into this hill from the front. It's exactly what will happen, but they're still just not in a great position because Elevate, they still spawn so close, and they can continue just to reinforce and try to win the game on this hill.
I mean, we're just gifting kills to Denza at this point. He might just be positive before this game is over, but Mavericks work their way inside the hill. About to be over 200 points, making this a very tight hard point. But Elevate, only 16 seconds for the win. That's 16 seconds that Mavericks have to play, but Eric Boom, double slide and chow. That'll put them up to 33 and 23. 1 minute and 35 seconds in the hill, trying to do it all for Mavericks to close it out here in map number 4. Does not want to see that standoff search and destroy. But it's all going to come down to this rotation. Again, Mavericks trying to secure going in towards the second set. It's still Elevate with about 30 seconds. P1 has typically gone over towards Mavericks through the past 2 sets, but Elevate are finding themselves the entry kills. Mavericks, they can't allow Elevate to get comfortable in P1. They can still close it out here.
Absolutely. And I think the other big thing about this hill, too, is this has been where Mavericks have found a ton of success throughout this entire game so far. But Super will be the only player who's kind of close right now. Vickle needs to push through to contest because there is only 10 seconds left for Elevate to win this game.
Contest will come through. Eric Boom is trying to do the dance on top of the table. Eric Boom will now try to go for the chow, but they will catch Wee Man going pro. Wee Man does find 2. 5 seconds needed. Sukri does find 1 going in, but they have to chow the hill. They have to be able to try to contest, and well, Wee Man's just going to lock down the angle, so not allowing a single Mavericks player to touch the hill in time. They go for the heads-up play. They win just hill after hill. 4 all the way into 5 was just so stellar for Elevate. Not to mention of Hixie's usage, not only the cruise missile going in towards 2, but didn't even use the artillery shot. He just called in the ping and just beamed 2 more with the Craig 6 he just picked up off the ground. I mean, that's insane. We got Hixie doing stuff like that. You can't afford to lose a map. So Elevate will win out that map at the very least. They'll tie up the series 2-2. And, well, Jesse, got ourselves a standoff.
We got ourselves a standoff. First time. This might be one of the first ones in the European region as well. I don't think I've seen it yet in this stage, at least either. So definitely in for a good one here going into standoff. But I mean, just looking at that overall game, kind of like I called out earlier on, it just sucks for the side of Mavericks that Eric Boom and Super weren't ever able to find those streaks in the middle of the game. Because you got to think if they have those streaks, maybe even towards the end, like you were calling out on that P5 hill, it would have been great to be able to use that to try to break Elevate off a little bit earlier. Because Elevate, they found just so much value on P3 to P4 to P5 on each set of rotations, where that's where they either came back in the game or took the lead both times through. It was really Mavericks on hills 1 and 2, where they were finding a lot more of their value throughout that entire game. And then very unfortunately for them, just in that last half, Elevate, they were finally able to find a way to break into P1, able to shut it down. And once you only need 10 seconds to win a game, and it's P1 where you can just absolutely zone teams out from both sides, makes it a little bit easier for you to finish that game off and take it.
I feel like a lot of people are swaying towards like the idea of P1 can actually be a money hill if it's not the first set of hills for Checkmate. I mean, Elevate are able to. It can be. I mean, Elevate just showcase all of that plus some more if you could just deal with the contest. But Amelia Strays versus Los Pepes, that's still happening on the mainstream. That is youtube.com/COD Challengers to follow that contest, as Amelia Strays are currently 2-1 up against Los Pepes. That is in the Checkmate control, but it is Los Pepes that are 2-0 up in the series count. A must-win for Amelia Strays. Same thing could be said here for Mavericks. If we could have the ability to take a look at our best of 5 map set, the entire roadmap, if you will, of where we've been, how we are, and where we're going. And we're going to standoff, baby. 250 to 208 from that Checkmate hardpoint. For Elevate, taking both the hard points is how they were able to force the map number 5. But the search and destroy and that control, pretty decisive if you ask me, for Mavericks and what they were looking for. And one named Eric Boom and Super, they were able to find a lot of aggressive value, and standoff is that type of map that awards aggression.
As I say, I think you got to think too on standoff. If they can make their push through and just grab one of these zones very quickly, I think you got to be wary of the flanks, obviously, on standoff, because it is one of those maps where it is a lot more open, where you can find a lot more value out of making big flank plays, very much so like Express as well. So I think this map absolutely could play very similarly. You got to be looking towards that A bomb site more often than not on offense here, but I don't know, man. I'm excited. This is my first Express. I'm getting a chance to cast. And of course, this is with you, Proper. I cast my first Express, cast my first standoff now with you. So it's all good vibes here.
I'm just happy to be here, really. Eric Boom is under a lot of pressure, though. Will end up losing their life. And, well, that's the main focus. I mean, you see Elevate just off the rip. They send 3 players straight towards the hotel. That is essentially going to shut down the B site, but you also are going to be gifted a cheeky angle if they can actually work their way closer to farm. That's going to look at the A site. But Sukri, that's not exactly where you want to be at. That's
what's his other gun?
I'm not. Maybe it was a 74U. Maybe they're more comfortable. It was like, I have better long shot percentage gunfight wins with my Diamatti. I have no idea, but Pickle's in a 1v4. You got to think that this essentially is the round going to be done and dusted here on out. And yeah, I'm kind kind of
Yeah, I don't
weirded
know
out.
about that gunfight. Yeah, that's just one of those ones where you're looking like, yeah, I feel like the 74U at that range at least could have won the gunfight a little bit more than that Diamante. But we will have a one-on-one on the site. Denzel will clean it up. That's just yeah, it's a 1v4. He's not winning that round. Let's be honest here.
I wish I could always like just go back and get like a specific player's
I
perspective.
just
Like
yeah,
I
I
had
want to
like
know
the
what he
bot for
had.
the game, and I.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to.
I mean, he doesn't have a sniper.
Sport,
We
we're
know
going.
that's G8. You're not using a boomstick.
Yeah, facts.
Well,
Like
I don't
sport,
know.
we're going back in this after. We're going back and we're watching to see what other gun he had in his hand.
Gotta find
Because
out.
maybe if you could at least find one there, put yourself in a better situation, at least find that, but not going to be the case. See what they can do on offense here, and sports so nicely pulling up all the all the guns
He's
for
not
us to
gonna
see
have
what
a
everybody's.
sniper.
Yeah, so it's like it's either a Krig or an AK. Let's be honest here, right? But nonetheless, Elevate, they will be moving this bomb over towards A. And look at the long range shots that you can take with the 74U nonetheless, as we get to see Vickle putting it on display there for himself.
Woo. Eric Boom finds 2. And again, that's that angle from Hotel that you just saw that'll give you that A site fully secured. And again, what essentially are these rounds back to back? Elevate wins, what is it, a 3v1 versus Eric Boom inside the Hotel for their opening defense. And then Mavericks, they send 2 players in towards Hotel. Maybe it was a third. I don't know. It happened so darn quickly because Eric Boom finding that 2-piece and Vickle finding that opening kill. They just shut down the Hotel again. That is the main focus here on Standoff. A lot of teams are trying to focus in and around that Hotel, and how do you deal with the Hotel and all of the sightlines that it does offer before you can even think about moving towards the A or the B site.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that these two teams are going to be putting a lot more focus on as this game goes across, is at least holding down towards that middle Hotel just to kind of keep everything on pace, stop the side of the defense of being able to just push and get so aggressive and winning all the gunfights in there. And this is normally a site where you would see a lot of sniper action going on in BO2, but unfortunately we're not playing Black Ops 2. We have no snipers in this game. So middle of the map going to be a lot less focused on than what you will see over towards that A site. And I say that, but Mavericks, they have taken complete control of the Hotel this time through. And you know what? That's why they're not in a 1v4 at this stage of the round.
And you're also not dolphin diving out of the window from Delhi, too. God, I missed
All
this
right,
place.
proper.
Yeah, it's the important stuff. But they were able to at least find the Hotel, and that's what's most important for the offensive team. Denza being down, they can't necessarily give up, they can't put resources in towards Hotel. They just have to defend the B site and put Weeman in a position that if they get the information that they're going towards A, try to contest it early, but they'll lose their life. Super. It's going to play their life inside a courtyard, and it's a great angle to be able to hold. Again, you are able to look over by the A site. Bids is trying to find this player, is now the lone survivor in a 1v3. Won't be able to take down the first, and Mavericks with a 2-1 lead here on Standoff. Again, nice little intensive play at the beginning to work out that first blood, recognize they have Hotel, and then slowly work their way over towards mid-street to take control of that A site.
And just from what I've seen so far, it really feels like the battle for Hotel is really what's going to end up winning you a lot of these rounds, at least early on in the rounds. Yes, of course, you always do have that chance of making a big play. But just from what I've seen here, it's just every time we've seen a team get full control of that Hotel, it's made it a lot easier to either A, get that bomb down, or B, be able to stop the team from pushing through and getting that bomb down on defense. But Eric actually going to get very aggressive here on offense. Nobody on the side of Mavericks even going to push in towards that Hotel here. So, I mean, Elevate realistically could rotate this bomb over there, get a fairly free plant down. But, I mean, is it ever really a free plant here on Standoff, though?
No, it's really not. And you can see Elevate. I mean, they're trying to go back to core fundamentals, right? You're just trying to play passive. Maybe you're going to bait out Mavericks to try to make a play. They don't have to. When you're thinking about the spawns here on Standoff, they're able to hold on to the power positions. It's the offense that quite literally has to make the play. The defense will never try to get wildly aggressive unless it is inside that Hotel, which, I mean, Mavericks, they say, all right, Elevate, go ahead and take it. We still hold angles right outside of Blue House, top deli, outside of the mid street to where we can control the B site and all the exits from Hotel. So we're down to 35 seconds. Elevate has to try to make a play. Weeman is trying to cover that entire flank, looking from Green Warehouse all the way down towards Gas. But yeah, it's going to have to be an A committal. So here comes the gunfight 2-1. That's not exactly what you want with 20 seconds remaining. Weeman and Bids got to try to make this play happen. Got to recover the bomb, maybe find the kills, but Vickle will shut down the flank play potential. Bids down to 31 HP. Nowhere to go. Mavericks take the lead and grow it 3-1.
I think it's just too passive there from Mavericks, if I'm being, or from Elevate, if I'm being completely honest. They're just sitting in the back, and You saw Eric Boom just push all the way up towards that B site, or sorry, towards that A site right off the bat, out by the tractor. And he just sat there and absolutely waited the entire round for Elevate to push through because they just had so much map control. They knew that Elevate had to come to them. They'd wait and Elevate comes to them. And it's exactly what they need now. Eric Boom also finds himself one off of being able to find that artillery strike. And I mean, I can't see a reason why Streaks wouldn't be able to find a lot of value on this map either.
Okay, it's just so wide open.
It's so open, yeah.
Eric Boom just 1 kill away, at least from the artillery strike. The ping in search is already so viable. Vickle will able to find first blood. Well-placed Semtex in the lap of bids. Take them out of commission. Yeah, that's your teammate, Vickle. Don't worry about it. That's the guy. That's your guy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's just worried about the fight inside a hotel, man.
But look at how much value that they're actually putting into Eric Boom, too. Actually has the bomb. I mean, that does benefit 4 score streaks, but you're not exactly going to be working your way towards the bomb site.
Oh, he's going to have a 1v1.
Yeah, Wee Man is actually making a heads-up play, but Eric Boom, all the wiser, gets the Semtex, but loses the gunfight, so no streaks, and the bomb is actually dropped all the way up in the bakery. So Vickle's going to have to try to make the recover play. Does find the trade at the very least. 38 seconds left to go. 3v2. Denza and Hixie trying to make the play through Hotel. Will they able to find one? Yes, they will. Sukri is out of commission. Bomb still has to be committed towards the site, and well, so long as the communication is going to come through that they're going to be over in the hotel, yeah, you got to commit towards the A side. Bomb's going to go down.
Oh, Super might just be able to find the best timing here too, but he gets dropped through the middle of the map. That's so big. Did the bomb go down? Okay, it did. So bomb is down. Vickle should be able to get pinched pretty easily on this site, though. He's got to find a way to get out of here. He'll win the first. Oh, and I think he spotted the second.
It's another game of cat and mouse. Hixie still has a Semtex. He's going to clear it out, but Hixie with the slide chow on the hay bale catches the end animation for the Semtex.
It's crazy.
Vickle with the 1v2 ice up there in the end was able to plant the bomb. The information was stellar from all the fallen comrades of Mavericks. 4-1 goes the lead.
And you love that. Slide challenges out to the bomb, just gets him behind, able to hop back out, find the kill. Beautiful, beautiful play there from Vickle. And he's actually going to find himself on 6 in a row now as well. And the bomb plant. So I think 1 kill should get him both streaks here. I'm not 100% on that, but you know what? We'll play it by ear. So at least looking to try to get that artillery strike, and we'll at least need to get a kill to find it here for himself as well. So looking to maybe one up Eric Boom here, who is 6-2, but Elevate so far in this game, they have just had a very tough time, and it's another very passive offense coming from them again, and it just feels like they haven't learned from their first one.
It's just said 3 players, whether they all have subs or not, inside the hotel. Hixie's gonna have this information, I guess, minorly as they eat a couple shots out from the courtyard cutout.
It just looks like they're scared to push out right now.
I feel like they just don't know what they need to be able to win out this map, whether it's well-versed or not. The strategy must have worked at some point for them, and they're actually baiting out engagements too. They will end up finding one. Of course, that will be traded on out. Mavericks are actually in a position where they're kind of forcing this play, and the flank will come through. There's Vickle for number 7. Artillery strike has been earned. A sneeze away from the cruise missile. And yeah, it's bids in this 1v3. So yeah, you're just going to try to bait out this kill. Super's going to eat a couple shots. Vickle, he's on the hunt. He wants the cruise missile. Be fully streaked out for the series win. Bids, not letting them have it. Vickle actually goes down, so can't get the cruise missile. But the artillery strike essentially just earned. So Mavericks are just going to hold their life smart enough. They're going to put themselves up on series point.
I was going to say, too, Mavericks, they were playing very spread out there. Besides the 1v2 that were chasing down, when they were chasing down at the very end there, if they end up both dropping there, they absolutely could have come out with that round win there still for Mavericks, which is for Elevate, which is how passively or spread out Mavericks were from each other. But unfortunately, they do end up being able to find the final kill through the middle of the map. Now Vickle with the streak in hand as well. I'd be surprised if we don't see it in this round, see them just try to bury them away early on here. And it will be full hotel control once again. But this time, Elevate getting a little bit more aggressive in towards gas.
They're going to push past gas, too. Odenza over by the dumpster. No, had to give up the angle, and Sukri's going to be able to benefit from it. Vickle's going to force out a team kill, unfortunately, on the Eric Boom. But doesn't even matter. We made a Hixie
tiny terror duo.
In a 2v3. Hixie at least finding Vickle inside a hotel is going to be pinched up from behind. That's from Super trying to run through the courtyard, trying to keep their life into the waiting arms of their teammate. But Sukri with the Diamatti will take down Hixie. He's going to pick up the sub. Again, this is for the series. 1v1 on a 4 streak. I think it really matters if you're able to close it out, but they still have to recover this bomb somehow, some way, and they're going to go for the all game of cat and mouse, and I think that Wee Man just might have heard the sound, and he's going to get the opening shots, and that's how you win a 1v1, baby. Well done there from Wee Man at the very end, at the very least, keeping Elevate alive in the standoff.
Not even just for that, they're also trying to keep if you're Mavericks, not only are you trying to win the series here, you're trying to keep your playoff hopes alive here as well, not getting relegated right off the bat here. Because I mean, looking over at the other side, it is still a hard point, but Los Pepes, they are up 2-1 in this series on Amelia Strays. It's basically a tie game right now in this Apocalypse hard point as well. So still, Amelia, if they fall in this game and Mavericks wins, it gives them every chance in the world to be able to make their way on in. Mavericks, they got to get it done here. They're up 5-2. They have every chance in the world here to get it done. And you can see Elevate, they're putting a lot of pressure. This is the first time we've seen them really get aggressive towards the site here, and it will be towards the B site. I don't know how the trophy doesn't catch the first one, but apparently it doesn't, so they decide to throw a second in the exact same spot. And the streaks will rein in. It pushes Elevate all the way back into Hotel. And I mean, that should give Mavericks enough idea of where they're trying to go to be able to set up for a retake at the very least.
I mean, look at Maverick's setup. Even though the artillery strike came through, they didn't want to dedicate a submachine gun all the way inside of gas. But Fickle with the shoulder is going to be thrown. Eric Boom still goes down. That's a trade, keep in mind you. But Super's going to make the play over the half wall, finds two with the 74U. And now it's up to bids and a 1v3 for the series. They keep themselves alive here. Look at the mini-map. Vickle and Super, they are on the prowl. It was a Hotel hit. Let's close it out. Let's make sure that we clear out Hotel. We're the exterminators, and Mavericks are able to take down Elevate. Say what you will, but that is a big series for Mavericks. The potential to put themselves in that knockout bracket, depending on what happens on the rest of the day.
Absolutely. And now they need to hope for Amelia Strays and a hot tub meta loss, honestly. And if it happens, they've done everything in their power to give themselves a shot at being able to make it outside of, winning a few other matches throughout the rest of the group stage. But still, very impressive win in all honesty over side of this Elevates team. Yes, we do both agree that Elevates probably throwing a couple of their weaker maps in here just to get a little bit of practice on them. But still, nonetheless, Mavericks, you're beating a very good team in itself. Kind of, I wouldn't want to call this a glorified scrim for Elevate, but it realistically was not their best maps that they came to play, but their hard points still looking sharp if you're an Elevate fan. Search and Destroy definitely going to need some work on Express and Standoff for themselves here, but I doubt we'll see much Standoff in that playoffs, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that we definitely knew for certainty for Elevate is that their hard point,
it's on top.
That's great. Yeah, 11-2 walking out of the series and going in towards playoffs at the very least. But 11-2 through stage 4 for your hard point, not bad. Maybe you got to clean up a couple maps here and there because I can only imagine we'll probably see a decent amount of Standoff in playoffs if it doesn't get hard vetoed. But yeah, definitely an integral game mode that you want to be able to close it out. Now they move to 4-4 overall. It's 3-4 for control, so you definitely have your work cut out for you. But Mavericks not done sweating for the rest of the day. They still have a lot of series to be able to watch, and again, their destiny is not necessarily as in their hands. Amelia Strays versus Los Pepes. They are going through the Apocalypse hardpoint right now. That is on the main broadcast. YouTube.com/COD Challengers will end up bringing you there. I still believe that there are a few matches still left to be played. I think that Orglis versus Hot Tub meta is still on the cards for us. So we're going to go ahead and get in contact with the players, see if we can get that on stream for you all. So don't go anywhere. Go over to the COD Challenger stream. Show Alan, Austin, and Brody some love as they are commentating all of that fine action for Europe. And we'll be right back. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the community broadcast here for Stage 4 Round Robin Group Play for Europe here in the Elite. My name is Proper. Joined with me is Cruz and Spaz, and we have some unfortunate news to tell you that our stream has, it's over. Sorry to tell you. Europe for Round Robin has come to a grand conclusion. We'll continue on with the broadcast once they get over towards Elite, but Orgless versus Hot Tub, that match will not be streamed. The main stream, go to youtube.com/COD Challengers. You'll actually go see a map 5 barn burner. Amelia Strays, they were able to win 3-1 versus Los Pepes on that checkmate control, and then 250 to 220 on the Apocalypse hardpoint to force the Miami map 5 map 5 barn burner. Again, a must win for Amelia Strays, much like what we said for Mavericks. But again, that's going to do it for us here. Jesse, your final remarks on the day.
I mean, reverse sweep on the cards over there. Gonna be a crazy one over there. And like we said, so Mavericks, they got their job done. If Amelia Strays wins, though, it completely shuts down everything that Mavericks just tried to do. So absolutely crazy stuff going on over in the European region, and it's gonna get even crazier tonight in the NA when everybody has a chance to be relegated. So can't wait for that.
North America is going to be starting off on here for the community broadcast and over on youtube.com/COD Challengers for the mainstream at around 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you set your alarms. Make sure you are aware because we have a lot more barn burners and stipulations on the cards. Once they are done with Amelia Strays and Los Pepes, the main broadcast will be moving over to Team War versus Originals. Again, another big win for Originals would actually end up kind of favoring out for maybe just seeding alone. But, War would be able to go in towards that knockout bracket feeling as strong as possible. But Mavericks, they're not done sweating on the day. Again, their destiny is not in their hands. They're just hoping that Hot Tub Meta and Amelia Strays lose their series so it doesn't come in towards a head-to-head versus them, of which Mavericks lost those 2 rosters. That is the big stipulation and narrative on the day. So make sure you go show Alan, Austin, Brody some love on the main broadcast. Again, youtube.com/COD Challengers. My name's Proper. That's been Cruz and Spaz on behalf of Sport for production and in-game observing. Thank you so much, and we hope you keep holding it down.